Right, this week we're talking about jacking locations on the 65 to 70 Mustang. Now, we've had a lot of guys write in and ask us what the best jacking locations are. Now, the image I'm putting up right now, I'm going to go over in detail. What you have are the two front jacking locations, which are at the turn down of the frame rail where they cover up the rear sections that go underneath the floor pans. That is your best jacking location from 1965 to 1970 because you have triple layer of steel there. If you have a V8 car after 1967, 68, it depends. A lot of times on the 67 Mustangs, you have a torque box on the driver's side and no torque box on the passenger side, even on a V8 car. After 1967, into 1968, 69, they put torque boxes on both sides, so you have an excellent jacking location at that spot. Another great jacking location is the area right there at the rear torque boxes, and that's basically right in front of where the rear springs are, where they mount to the front part of the chassis. That's another excellent jacking location. You have ancillary locations as well that you can jack to. One of those is where the front frame rail supports that are underneath the floor pans, and then you can also jack at the suspension location where you have the cross member that goes underneath the engine. That location is a little more problematic on cars with weak floor pans because the car will in fact start to buckle even if it's in decent shape. You can see it basically taking the door and widening the gap at the bottom and narrowing the gap at the top on cars that are a little, let's just say, tired. These chassis are pretty old and that's the case with those. Better to jack the car up at the back and then jack the car up at the front on the cross member. A lot of times I don't worry about it because the chassis is already flexed. Not a whole lot you can do about it. One thing I will say is I try to never ever jack the car up at the very front of the radiator core support or out at the back at the ends of the frame rails because those are going to put the most amount of stress on that chassis. Think of the chassis as a lever, and basically with that engine in the front, if you're jacking the back of the chassis up, you're actually putting way too much stress across the line of that body, and it's just going to tend to want to bow it out because most of your force is being put on that single pad for the jack. So don't do that and don't jack it up right at the very front. But do yourself a favor and go out and watch us on Autorestomod each week. On Thursday, we put up episodes covering just about any kind of installation you can think of for classic cars. We also have a new show called Man It Mechanic. Check that one out as well. That one airs every other Monday or Tuesday, depending on when I can get to it. And we'll put those up from here on out to get you guys even more Autorestomod style information. You guys have a great week and work on your cars.